And here we are for an episode of Dualistic Unity Raw after we are returning from our camping trip this weekend. Kind of an impromptu last-minute decision. We were out on, I believe it was Wednesday night, and we went, hey, you know what we could do? We could go camping because I live on a fucking dope island, and camping is like a 15-minute drive away. So we went camping, and now we are back. Some new perspectives, feeling a little bit more grounded, a little bit, I guess, more at peace. I want to say more at peace from my side, just because there's something about being in nature where it's almost like remembering your pace, like your pace, because there's nothing around you setting the pace. So you really are just left with you. And that's really nice. And it's been a while since I went camping. So first off, just want to say to our listener, hey, we are back. We're very excited to be here. We also have an announcement. Port Alberni is happening November 2nd, 2024. We will be returning to our very first retreat location for a 9-day full retreat. This features meals made by a chef. We have nice walks through 2 provincial parks that are just down the dirt road because we're in the middle of a gorgeous island. There's a bus ride from the airport where we pick everybody up. We go through Cathedral Grove, which is an old growth forest. There's a hot tub. There's a gazebo. What else we got going on?
We got pool. We got beautiful walks. The slingshot area out back potentially.
Yes,
not formally, but
let's not forget though, you can have yoga classes that you can participate in. There are classical guitarists that'll be performing and
a massage therapist there. A really, really fucking good one.
Yeah. So we have massage or Reiki because this woman does both.
Yes.
So you can get that on the order form when you pick up your ticket. And then that's what I'm excited. We have added something totally new to this experience, which is a 3-hour chartered boat. I'm going to say that again, chartered boat. And that means we're not sharing it with anybody. It's just the DU squad and the captain and whoever their crew might be. But that's it. And we are going out for 3 hours in the inlet around Port Alberni. If you don't know where that is, check out Vancouver Island because it's fucking gorgeous. And we're going to go and check out some whales. And then we're going to come back and we're going to hang out. And it's just going to be the most incredible experience. You know what's funny about it, though, is that it was originally planned for November 16th. But as we know from last year, middle of November starts getting a little on the chillier side because we do live in Canada, even though it doesn't feel like it most of the year here on the island. So we ended up being able to move it 2 weeks earlier because an 80-year-old birthday party was canceled.
Wow.
And so that was the reason. So we got into November 2nd. Now it's a 9-day retreat. So that means that the retreat ends on the 11th, which by coincidence is the exact day that the first retreat started.
Wow.
That's cool.
Oh, snap.
Cool. So that's kind of a neat cycle in itself. This is going to be dope, is what I'm saying, for sure. And I'm going to shut up very quickly here. I also wanted to mention that the tickets for Port Alberni went on sale for Tier 3 supporters on Patreon yesterday. And I think we're down from 13 to 6.
Yeah, 5 or 6
Yeah.
slots are open. And if you are interested in the retreat, Patreon is definitely good to hop on, even just for a month, even if you just want to do that, because the discount outweighs the cost for a month. So if you're thinking about the retreat, odds are, given that 7 have sold in like 2 days, basically, there's a good chance that they're going to keep selling quickly. So yeah, hopping on Tier 3 would be smart. But if not, we're going to have a bunch of mini retreats next year as well. But if this one sells out, we'll see. Maybe we'll be back to Port Alberni. But it's a absolutely gorgeous area. When I first saw those forests, I was like, these are some fucking magical fairy forests right now. Moss on the trees. If you haven't seen forests on Vancouver Island in BC, like, you haven't seen forests really. Like in the US, they just don't have, maybe the Pacific Northwest, but it's those in and of itself, just to be in the location, to be in the area is fucking rewarding as shit. And yeah, outside of that, definitely want to get into the camping talk. 'Cause that was a lot of fun. But
yeah. Please actually continue the conversation, and then I want to find out from the two of you, how the camping experience was, because this is something I've done since I was a kid. I love camping. It's a big part of my life, but I know it's relatively new, or at least something that you're revisiting, you know, because many people have gone camping as children. It's a very different experience as an adult.
Right.
But anyway, now I'll let you talk and I'll stop interrupting.
No.
I'll
Until you do it
One more
again.
time. Exactly.
Unfazed, right? That's the mode I'm in right now. So go for it, push that button. It's been disabled. But I also wanted to mention about the Port Alberni retreat is that we're gonna have all 4 co-hosts there, and we didn't mention that yet because Jackie's going to be there, and Jackie's going to be teaching the yoga classes. The 2 1-hour yoga classes are going to be taught by the wonderful and fabulous Jackie. So another reason, the place is amazing. Fireplace inside the property, in the home itself, fireplace in the gazebo, the outdoor enclosed gazebo, the amazing deck. You have access to the river, so you can go ice plunging if you feel like it, and then go jump in the jacuzzi, and then go into the little sauna, the little standing like 4-person sauna. Amazing. Like, it's just an incredible location. It feels like such a full circle moment to go back there because I feel so different. Not to mention, I just met this man this weekend. Who are you, Mr. Mountain Murnane? I've never seen this man in my life, and he took to camping like a fish takes to water. It was really cool to see, and so good to get back into it because I haven't gone camping in like traditional camping in like a decade or more, because I've gone to music festivals, which is like camping, you know, no showers unless you're, you know, unless you're in VIP sections, you're in a tent, you're grimy, but it's so much fast. The pace is so much faster. So it felt so nice to just slow down to like that old equilibrium that I forgot about. And I forgot about just the experience of camping and being out in quote unquote nature. Like, it's like nature stops when you hit the sidewalk. It's like, that is still nature. It's just a concrete forest versus the natural forest that was there previously. So it's just, we are that process of nature, and it just feels so good to get back in tune with that. So very, very glad that we have the Port Alberni retreat lined up for this November, and we will be back there. And so glad that we just went camping, the first of many DU camping adventures.
Next one in August.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are going to announce the date for that. We're going to be camping in Tofino, in the Tofino area. So if you would like to join us, we're going to announce where we're camping, specifically the campsite and the tent site. So that way you know what you can book around us. We'll try and book something that's got a lot of availability around it. And if you would like to join us, it's going to be, I think, from a Monday to a Friday. So the middle of the week when it's not busy,
Right.
we get the campground to ourselves. We can go sit down by the ocean on the Pacific at night, looking up at the Milky Way together. It's going to be just fantastic. So again, if you haven't joined Patreon, that's where these announcements are going to be. We're in the middle of a kind of a revamping. A lot of shit going on right now. There's a lot of big developments with Dualistic Unity. So we are going to be making some changes. The first of which actually has already happened. The schedule has changed.
Yes.
Our schedule for live broadcasts as well as group discussions has changed as of this week. If you go to our website at dualistiCunity.com and click on the group schedule on the navigation bar, you can download it to your calendar app and have it accessible to you. It'll tell you when we're doing Patreon groups, when we're doing free groups, when we're doing social episodes, when we're doing raw episodes, when you can catch Dualistic Unity Reel, everything, basically. So check out that calendar and check out the schedule change, because we've taken in everybody's feedback and changed the schedule accordingly so that way we can meet as many of you as possible.
Yeah. I don't know if we have dualisticunity.com.
We do not.
Okay, fair enough.
They can type it in.
Yeah, easy enough. But yeah, super excited for the updates and the shifts and the changes. It really feels like a new chapter is turning over for Dualistic Unity, and being involved in the community too. Like, there's a lot of opportunity in Nanaimo. I know I'm super excited. We've already made some waves, but we're gonna create a new segment of the podcast, a series talking to some local businesses, more, you know, a little bit businessy, but also very much about the human side of going through the experience of starting a business, as we are people who are starting a business and going through the ups and the downs, the uncertainty and the concerns and the fears and the worries. And so I'm very excited to have those conversations with some places potentially like Landlubber Pub. Shout out Landlubber.
Ew.
Island Cannabis. Fuck, I can never remember the campsite. Living Forest.
You just
Forest.
Oceanside. There it is.
Memory
Right
engaged.
in
Another
time.
win for the books.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in touch with them. A number of
Fuck
people, because the NIMO social media scene, it's like a couple years back. So we're here to rev things up and see what we can do, see what ripples we can make. But yeah, the camping experience was a ton of fun because it was more or less my first time ever camping. And so basically everything we did was a brand new experience. And there were so many chances for me to just, I whittled a fucking spear that we didn't use for any reason besides cooking some hot dogs. So did it have to be quite as lethal as I made it? Probably not, but I got,
Warhead spears for next time.
Yeah, exactly. I know how to
Pace
do it now, just in case. Get some javelins going or kill some whales one day or something.
Oh, and if you're in the forest, it does help to protect you from animals if you can make those sticks
And
sticking
bury
out of the
them.
ground
Yeah.
at an angle
Directionally.
around your forest.
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
around your fort. It will generally keep animals at bay because nobody wants to go near sharp, pointy things.
Right. Porcupines know this.
Exactly.
Yeah, they use that well.
Look
Create
at
your
you
own.
developing skills for bushmanship.
No, and like seriously, it does the pace, the shift in pace. Like I got back to my apartment and I was like, immediately I got to open some windows, open a screen door here. Like there was a feel to it, the hum of the generator, the lights, the squared off edges, all of it. There was that feel of like wanting to get back into nature because for so much of my life and so many people I know too, it's like, why would you go camping? It's less comfortable, and that's kind of the extent of it. Like that sounds tough. That sounds difficult. Maybe not have a certain shower for a little while, no hot water for a bit, but even just doing it, if you just want to do it for appreciation of the rest of your life, that's a reason in and of itself. But just going through, the experience and realizing there's so much more to life, and your day can be kind of like, I don't know the word. I keep trying to think of like an enclosed loop sort of thing, but you wonder about like purpose of life, meaning of life, and you go
The word you're
camping.
looking for is fulfilled.
Fulfilled. There you go. Something like that. But you do things and then you reap the rewards to them in the immediacy. You're hungry, you cook some food. You're cold, you make a fire. You're too warm, you jump in the water. It's not like so much prep for the future, and it brings you back to just what you're doing. So I can't recommend camping enough. I'm definitely going to do some solo stuff. I think I'm going to go buy a bunch of camping gear now and just maybe become a fucking mountain man.
Bush junkie.
I'm telling you, man, it's going to suit you well. And it's because it's just on you. Like, if you're not enjoying yourself in nature, it's not like nature's giving you a reason for that. It's just doing its thing. So it really just comes down to your experience of being yourself. That's why I really appreciated the guy that just biked down there with his shit on his back, set up his little like one-man tent, and then just sat there at the picnic table reading, staring out in the distance. Like and I think he was there for like a full day on his own before he just left.
Oh my God, it was like a living commercial. This was like the epitome of outdoor excellence, just like
how
solitude.
to live life.
Yeah, simply.
But
Outdoors.
it's different when it's like a bush party versus
Yes.
just going into nature. It's very different. We didn't once play music. Like I was actually really impressed at Living Forest because nobody was playing music.
And there was one moment where I heard someone's radio go off for like 10 seconds and then they turned off. They're like, oh shit, forgot. My bad. You could
Just felt so out of place.
It did.
Yeah.
And they
So
must have felt that. And they were like,
totally different energy through everything. There's like a sharpness to it. Whereas, we woke up to birds chirping every day. It's like, ooh,
As
man,
the sun came up.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
And
there's
the
also like,
breeze.
Gotta ask though, this might just be me. Does it seem when you're camping outdoors like you have to pee more often at night?
could be. Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, I think I got up twice every night to pee.
See, and you don't generally do that indoors. This is not something I'm mentioning because there's any like reason or purpose or profound point here. I was just complaining.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I do know that it can occasionally be an indicator of losing weight if you're peeing a lot, because you have more, I don't know if it's like more hydration, water, and that's a way that it's sort of excreted. But I have found that when I've been purposely trying to lose weight, that I pee way more.
Because I slept through the night and I did not have to use the bathroom at all.
Nice.
That's nice. I have done nights where I don't drink water for like 4 hours before, because I pretty much get up to pee at least once every night. But yeah, in the forest it was
Could have also been the campfire beer.
not true.
Which
A lot of
was
liquids. A lot of liquids.
Midday brew break.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a great experience. And again, I think important for us as a team, because we often think about ourselves as a team, but this was really just us chilling out.
Mhm.
It was nice. We didn't really discuss work. You know, we went out for a hike, desert trails. We played Frisbee.
Mhm.
That was dope. You know, we took a long ass walk to a dispensary. That
Yes.
was also fun.
2 dispensaries.
Right. The first one wasn't open yet.
Yes.
We got
So then
misled.
We were
No
inspired
longer
to go.
right.
And then
Inspired
we
was
had to-
closed. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
And then we were inspired to pivot.
Mhm. Yeah, which
You know,
we
but
did
we still made
seamlessly.
our last minute flight. Wait, I was kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we did. We did.
No, it was a good trip. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of lessons along the way.
Mhm.
You know, and just the gorgeous weather. Holy shit. The
Yeah.
weather held out all weekend long until today. We got up and we're like, oh, it looks like it's going to rain later.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that said,
Good time.
I also wanted to mention very quickly, I'm stoked to be back today because tonight my daughter and Fidelium will be performing at the Port Theater in downtown Nanaimo. Fidelium is an incredible group of musicians, young musicians, all just jamming the fuck out on violins, playing fiddle music that you've
Mhm.
never heard before and will love. I highly recommend checking them out. There's a QR code on the screen. You can find them on Spotify or Apple Music or pretty much anywhere. YouTube. They also have YouTube. They're on TikTok and Instagram. They're just amazing. And tonight we get to go down as supporters, and I, of course, am a Fidelium parent,
Yes.
and witness this fantastic show that they've been practicing for and working towards all year long.
Mhm.
This is like the crest of the year.
Mhm.
So I'm very excited. If you don't know, we are currently working with Fidelium to try and help promote them in the area to get more exposure for them as a group, because frankly, the music's incredible. It's professional level
Yes.
and nobody's heard of them. Even though they won a nationwide award last year,
Mhm.
nobody's heard of them. So this is something we want to fix in the very near future. So we're stoked to be involved. And tonight we're going to go and do some filming,
Mhm.
you know, as well as watching and perceiving. Because I noticed at the last event I went to that it was really hard to film well because I kept closing my eyes.
Yes.
So if you watch some of the videos that I've got from Fidelium, like the one at the end of our episode with Trish Horrocks,
Yes.
the creator of Fidelium, you'll notice that it just starts tilting to the left or to the right after a little while, and it's because my eyes were closed and I just wasn't watching the video. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, got to straighten that out.
That's right.
Nonetheless, the music's great, and my lack of video filming ability doesn't have anything to do with that. That's enough for me.
Now it's a balance, right? You know, the appreciation, the living of life, and
Mhm.
the creation of content. It's definitely one I've been trying to find a good strike for, because I do enjoy, you know,
Mhm.
pushing a lot of content, and that's a big part of our business, is getting just stuff out there of just living life and like
Right.
not doing it in a super structured way, not trying to be something, not trying to prove anything.
Mhm.
And so yeah, we have a number of vlogs coming out, the new docu-series that I will get all of the, I think I have like 5 or 6 episodes on my phone, basically, with clips from them. And then we'll piece those together on social media, just kind of documenting what we're doing on the business, giving some behind the scenes looks, but got a lot of clips from the camping trip and so many things going on. So yeah, the Fidelium performance tonight, I've heard them for like 15 seconds in person. As we were walking, we saw them playing in a park at
They
Matteo
just
Sutton.
finished.
I know, it was good timing that I was able to hear them. I have heard them live, but
Mhm.
I couldn't be more excited for tonight. And we do have that episode with Trish too, if anyone wants to check that out. That's season 6, I think episode 15, maybe 14,
sounds-
15, 13, something like that.
Mhm.
But
It's
yeah,
in the teens.
It's in the
Trish
teens.
and Jeff, incredible people. Very excited, just pumped to be working with them and doing things. Another, Nanaimo organization that we're getting in touch with, doing things with, because their music is absolutely magical, heavenly, even. So,
Absolutely. And so you can get to know Trish in the episode with in season 6, and you can get to know Jeff in the Being Music series. So, you guys are, creating content with both of them, and that is amazing. Fidelium is really, really such an outstanding program. Not just because it's a wonderful experience to learn about music and the structure of music and why sounds make the sounds that they do, which is fascinating. I'm very curious about it, but it's also the way that they teach. That it's not just about the performance. It's not just about the mechanics. It's about feeling the music and really embodying the feelings that are written in the notes of the music by the composers, and trusting yourself and connecting with others, and the way that they teach the musicians to look each other in the eye as they're performing, and then they do like cool little moves, and it is just it is truly professional level performance, and this is something that they're gonna embody throughout their entire lives. And not only that, the University of Columbia, is it the University of British Columbia, that was pretty much showing the significant benefits of students who are learning a musical knowledge with their academic subjects, and how they tend to do better. So it's like, not only are we enjoying this amazing experience, but the musicians as a whole are gaining so much from it. So it just feels like the ultimate win-win. I'm so glad that we're helping them.
Yeah, me too. So it's an episode of Raw. I will just pivot as I see fit.
Right.
I would like to talk about the difference in tone that has been here since, I don't know, like Tuesday, Wednesday last week. And it's just because it's kind of a change in, I think, attitude towards our lives. Like, because there's so much change, like literally we just listed a bunch of things that Dualistic Unity is doing, like episodes, events, so on and so forth. Half of them I was like, oh yeah, oh right. Like, there's so much that is happening right now. Like, we have so many groups, we have so many things happening. Like, we have investors at the moment we're going to be talking to in the next week. We're sending out paperwork there. We've got a meeting with our bank. We've got the reconfiguration of our company, as it were, and we've got sponsors that we're talking to. We've got so much stuff happening that there's been very much a feeling of almost being overwhelmed and untethered to a very large degree. And a lot of that was not just the fact that there's all of that, but the fact that when you really add up all of the hours that the three of us have spent in person, it's less than like 2 months. For sure, if that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's over 2.5 years of working together. So there's been a lot of just, holy fuck, let's just keep going. Holy fuck, let's just keep going. And then finally we came to the end of the Denver retreat, where we have no more events. We are stopping for the next little while. We are buckling down, looking at the business side of things, restructuring our events for 2025, changing our own roles within things, looking at how to extend forward on the local side. But as well, we've decided in this last few days, I think, to remember that this is about our lives. That this is not just about the business and keeping up and playing a role, but that all of these things are really extensions of shit that we like to do. Reason we do these events is because we love the conversation. We love to hang out with people who want to play pool and be present, and who want to be authentic and vulnerable. We love to do these things. We love to travel, to go and see these people, right? We like to have group conversations. We like to do all these things, and we like to promote local business. We like to talk to the local people. We want to promote some of the local singers who want to come down at karaoke night. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we like to do, and that's what Dualistic Unity should be. It should be primarily an extension of the existence that we all are having individually and what we want to do with it. It should be a result of our enthusiasm, as opposed to trying to be a business about enthusiasm, because that doesn't sound very enthusiastic
or authentic.
And so I just wanted to touch on that. Like, I know for me, there's been a big change where it's just like, wow, these two motherfuckers are in. And Jackie is in. Like, we're all very committed to this. We've been at it for a long time. It's kind of like it just settled in.
Oh, very much so. Because yeah, there's been so much change and shifts. And if you were to tell me, a year, 2 years ago, which we discussed us moving to Vancouver Island at one point, like
Mhm.
I wouldn't have been able to just comprehend how many shifts and changes, or my own ability to even like face stuff and go through stuff, and just like because it as much as I feel like it's been a lot of change, really for me it's just been like the process of growing up, which everyone's always kind of going through, but also taking more responsibility for myself, like for like wholeheartedly myself, not just from a work standpoint, but from a moment to moment, like enjoying reality experience. Because I don't think I even realized necessarily, and it can be tough to realize how much we rely on external stuff, validation, situations, something to look forward to at all times for feeling certain ways. And then you go through certain changes, you're just kind of left with yourself as you are, and you're like, okay, there have been a lot of things that I've looked to for a sense of certainty, security, safety, and like just not looking to those things or relying on those things as much leaves you with yourself, which gives you an opportunity to see what you're made of or make the most of your life. But there is that period, and we've spoken to a lot of people recently, especially in our Patreon groups, who are going through those sort of changes, and it's uncertain. Maybe you feel like you're in a washing machine on a speed cycle for a while, but that's part of the shift. That's part of the change. And so I think recently it's been a bit of a settling. Everything's kind of settled in a lot of ways. Things are a little bit clear. There's a fuckload of opportunities for us to do things here, and I think we're all getting a sense of like, oh, there's a lot of things, a lot of potential here. And if we're each of us individually isn't so much in our own way, it's like the opportunities are endless. We want to try something new. We want to look into maybe investing in a local bar and like running that for a bit. Like that would be really cool. But it certainly has been a big shift for me in the sense of the podcast early on was always about a conversation, a deeper sort of conversation about reality from like a pulled back 3,000 foot sort of view, and talking about that. And it wasn't as much as it was about my experiences. It was more like the podcast felt like a product in and of itself, as opposed to like the fruit of a tree, the tree being me, the podcast just being a place where I can we can all talk about all the things that we're doing, all the stuff that we're doing in our lives, the shifts, the changes, the new business ventures we're jumping into. Tried this new thing. I fucking learned how to whittle a stick, chopped wood, did all these things, got splinters, and realized like, oh, I've never really I had like 5 splinters at once, and I didn't worry about picking them out. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get more, and that's fine. And I'm just going to keep, chopping wood. And there's the side of me that's like, oh, I got to toughen up. And then I start doing things that are toughening me up, and I'm like, ooh, these are kind of uncomfortable. It's like, all right, motherfucker, like which one do you want? Do you want to toughen up, or do you want to, stay comfortable? And it's in those moments that you almost, at least I can almost forget. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm getting into new things, trying new things. And so it's been really, really cool, because so much of my life right now seems just open-ended and exciting, because you can always take 2 perspectives to any situation. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen. That's scary. I don't know what's going to happen. That's exciting. And there can always be a little bit of both. And you don't have to think like, oh, it shouldn't be scary. It's like, of course it's going to be scary. It's brand new. You don't know what's going to happen. You've always maintained the sense of like knowing what was next, or having some degree of certainty. But it's far more exciting to see just what you're capable of. And it's fucking dope that we have this spot to be able to just talk about those experiences, instead of, because it was for me for so long like this specific sort of thing that we're going to get into and see. I have questions about reality, instead of just like being myself, trying new things and not judging myself along the way. Fucking opening the Tim Hortons chili can, Ray showed me how to do it, and he used his little knife thing, and it looked like he cut it like butter. And then I get in there, I'm like, this looked so much easier when Ray was doing it, and I was getting all pissed. And Amanda and Ray are both like, you've never done it before, bro. It's like, I've never done it before, but there's still the opportunity to judge the fuck out of myself because it's always there. But like, how do you get to a point where it looks easy without going through like, how do I do this? Like, it's a necessary component to living life, to trying new things. And if you can keep that in mind, I think it makes those experiences at least less stressful. You know, you can enjoy them and try more new things throughout your life too. So yeah, I'm fucking stoked. And I'll stop.
I love it. Ramble away, sir. No, but it was. I remember that moment because I was just like, of course it looks easier when Ray did it. Ray's had his like 100,000th time doing that thing. It better look easy at the 100,000th time. You know, you're doing it your first time, but that's we expect ourselves to have that master's ease in the first attempt or first few attempts, and it's like, I'm not a savant, I shall never open a can by Leatherman again. If it wasn't easy, it's not meant for me. And it's like, yeah, but if you really did live by that kind of standard, you would never do anything twice. And how heartbreaking is that you put so much pressure on the one and only shot you'd give yourself. And then it was so beautiful to watch you pivot. You laughed so hard when we just made that suggestion, like, yeah, but that's his 100,000th time. And you're like, yeah. That's great.
Yeah, you make a good point.
It was seamless, sir. That you did with Master's E, sir, and I tip my hat to you. I was just so glad to see you just like, oh, all right. And you're like, all right, round 2. Let's go. Round 2. Let's do this. And then just doing a couple of things the first time and having it be a little rough and pivoting and doing it again, it gives you so much faith going forward, right? And so often someone will say to anyone, like, oh, you make this look so easy. And it's like, yeah, it's like, of course, when you put in a lot of reps, the reps start to look easy after you put in enough of them. And that is so true for all of us across the board. But it also felt like a brand new experience for me, even if I've done it a handful of times, it still felt incredibly new because I felt like I was not bringing as much weight. And so it felt like learning how to set up a tent without stress, learning how to help with the fire without stress. Because before there was pressure, there was enthusiasm, but there was like, I've got to figure out how to do this right. And this time it just felt like the pivots were smoother because we just didn't hold on to those quote unquote hiccups. And I loved how easy it was for all of us to just laugh. We had a whole canoe scenario that happens. And, we're trying to get into this 3-man canoe. They tell us, yep, come back here, 4:50. Boom, we're there on time. We walk in and they're like, okay, let me just go get the waivers for you. Wait, how many? 2, 3 adults for a 3-man canoe? No, we don't allow it.
One of you must be a child.
Not a weight limit, but 2 adults and a child.
An age limit.
Whatever that means. So if you got 2 300-pound people and a 100-pound 10-year-old, it's still good. That's way more than us. But
one of you should just be learning to swim.
At least one's going to be a liability.
What's the waiver worth if there's not a liability?
It's like, I'll go get the waivers. Wait, this seems too safe.
Yeah. You need a reason to give you the waivers.
Exactly. And then we're like, okay, hold up. We're just going to go outside real quick and chat about this. We went outside and we were like, no.
Another time. Because the alternative was one of us taking a kayak and 2 in the canoe.
Or 3 kayaks.
Or 3 kayaks. And it was like, no, we're going to canoe and 1 boat.
Pretty much.
We'll do something else. And that's cool.
But we laughed
elsewhere.
And we laughed and we just, ambled on.
Oh, I could go on and on about the things that we did. We walked 10 minutes to the shower spot. I totally forgot my soap, despite it being on my clothes. And I think I just moved it to like I don't even know.
Probably to pick up your clothes.
Right.
It wasn't the first time that something like that happened, and like we're almost there, and I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot my soap. And you guys are like, well, you can go back and get it. You know, we're just chilling.
Give us your
This is at
pile.
like 4 p.m. maybe 5 p.m. It's like we're just hanging for the rest. There's no schedule. There's no agenda. Like if we sit here and wait for you here, it's either that or we'll hang out after
you
shower.
take a shower.
So, like, that's a
I know
good
where to
point.
find you.
I'm so used to just being on a schedule. This thing, we got to do this by this point. Don't want to inconvenience
Right.
anyone else. And then it's like one way or the other, we're going to be chilling. So it's like just those opportunities. It's like, and it's honestly, it's kind of annoying to hear someone continue to beat themselves up for something too. And so if I keep
Or it's just
beating
funny.
myself up, yeah. It's like, and I dropped it relatively quick, getting quicker and quicker.
That's right.
With that, because it's not really worth anything. And yeah, grabbed my soap, came back, all was good. Got our 5-minute token shower in, the first one I ever took, and realized that I can shower actually pretty fucking quick.
Same. But I stood
3
in there. We're not
minutes
wasting
flat,
a second.
you know?
We paid for those. We paid for all those seconds. We're standing there for all those seconds, but it really could have been done in like 4 minutes.
Yeah. And shout out Leatherman. Just want to say very quickly, if you don't have a Leatherman, you are not prepared for life. A Leatherman is just a fantastic tool. I highly recommend having one, so that way if you're ever not in the safety of your home, you're prepared for anything that might pop up, because that shit's great. It's like a Swiss Army knife, but better. So shout out to Leatherman. I also wanted to mention, and this is kind of the fun part of age, I think, is that, so you're like, hey, can I get the can opener? I'm like, yes, here's the can opener. Then I see you trying to open it like you would a bottle of beer, right? Like that. I'm like, that is not how that works. But I knew upon showing you how it would work that you would look at that and go, that's easy. Because that's what I did when somebody showed me that. And then I went through that very same process of, that is not that easy. Right? And so I kind of knew that was coming, and I was waiting for it. I remember very much handing you the Leatherman going, here you go. Go ahead. So there's that. And it's just kind of funny because, again, you're looking back at things. Like it would be kind of like if somebody came up to you and said, hey, can you show me how to pitch a ball? Right? You'd be like, yeah. You'd pitch the ball. And then they'd be like, oh, shit, I got this. You're like, sure you do. You know, it's like, it's a little bit more complicated than it looks, right? Because it is. There's a lot that goes into throwing a ball really fast and accurately. But that's just what a journey is that eventually you start to do something so effortlessly that took all of your attention at one point. You know, and that was moving our bodies, you know, at one point, you know, and now everything is almost done for us. You know, we've baby proofed the world. And it's like, you don't know how to cook? Don't worry. Just walk down the street. There's somebody's making food for you. Or
somebody will deliver to your front door.
Straight
up. You don't even have to walk.
Right?
Basically delivered to your mouth.
Right? And if you don't know how to read, don't worry, there's pictures. You know, you will find your way to food.
Audiobook.
Yeah, they will say it.
Audio cookbook, you know, if you really want to. But yeah, and that sense of like just trying new things. Like I would always through my life like try something new for a reason, to like learn something in order to be able to share something or make myself feel more interesting. But it wasn't just for the sake of trying something new. It was like a brand new thing that didn't have that connotation to it. Like there wasn't a good reason to. And I've gotten that feeling as to why it's avoided. Because like on the camping trip, there was every day I think I did, you know, 5 to 10 things that were brand new that I had never done. And every time I felt like a baby, like felt super immature, felt like, I don't know, that sense, you know, when we first started playing StarCraft, I was like, I don't know what the fuck even to set up here. StarCraft's a video game that's like, you know, a battle sort of conquering, play against different teams. I had no idea how to set up a camp or to attack. And there's like a balance between defense and offense. And I was just there like, I hardly even know how to play this game at all. And like, you find that you do it a few times and you start to get a sense for it, but no one can give you that sense for it. No one can shortcut it for you. It's like, you got to go through those phases of feeling like a baby, feeling like a child. And I think, you know, for at least in my experience, I'm sure I'm not alone. A lot of people avoid those new things, trying new things, because you do feel cut down, chopped down. And the alternative is to focus on one thing and become really, really good at it. Or, you know, you can make your life very full of new experiences, and you learn from different things. And then you got, more stuff to talk about, not trying to do things just so you talk about it.
Yeah, well, because you're actually living. So you just have shit to talk about.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to answer a question here, and then I want to ask you something. I don't know how to put on socks. Is there something for that? I just want to let you know, yes, there is. It's called the sock slider. Go ahead, check it out. It seems far more complex than it needs to be just to put on socks. Going back to the experience of just being in the bush, I know that this was first time that you've lit a fire from scratch, no help. Throughout that process of trying to rush the fire and watching it get smothered, versus not paying attention to the fire and then watching it go out. How was that experience in terms of learning about yourself?
It was great because I've always, looked up some tutorial, like a YouTube video, a how-to, and I've lit fires before. I've worked on fires, but it was never just me. Like, you guys very much left me alone to figure that out. And I went back and forth between it, feeling, it's looking pretty good. And then don't pay as much attention for a bit, maybe go try and cook something. It starts to dwindle. And I'm like, fuck, I gotta keep that thing going. And so there's this whole process. It's not just flip a switch and your gas, burning fireplace goes on in your house. It's no, it's got to be maintained. It's there's the building process, but then there's the maintenance process. And there is that sense of fulfillment in just doing it too. That was one of the biggest things I think I got from camping, is that sense of fulfillment just for doing something, making the spear for the hot dog. It's this is a functional thing that I'm creating. It's an experience in and of itself. And then get to cook something on it, learn how to light a Coleman. I did it a few times, and now I pretty much know how to do that. I didn't read much about it, just did it a few times.
And I want to mention to our listener that it is an old Coleman that actually needed a bit of troubleshooting, which was funny because we're like, why isn't this working? So we all got in there. We're like, well, shit, it looks like something's not right. Oh, look at that. That screw's not going in all the way. It's not cutting off the air. What do we do? It's rusted. Oh, man, it's well, why don't we make a washer? Look, we've got some tin here. So the three of us jury-rigged this washer onto the Coleman, and it ended up working. That was all a process that just took I don't know, an hour.
Andrew scraped off all the rust, pretty much brought it back to life, that screw, and then the washer looks like a Canadian leaf, so we might get into Canadian leaf-shaped washers business. That was so funny about this weekend was that we weren't working, but damn, did we have so many brilliant ideas, so many, in a state of relaxation and calmness. The ideas were just flowing from every single thing that we did. We just were seeing opportunity, potentials, ideas. It was just really, really cool to be a part of and to watch happening.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. The process of the washer was pretty seamless because we didn't even know what the issue was at first. We had to figure that out. Ray pretty much figured out, there's a leak here. This screw is loose. And it's why not a washer? Make the washer, clean the screw, and it was functional that right there. That's really cool. It wasn't working, and then it was.
Nobody was called.
No
servicemen were assigned to the job.
And then we were able to heat up food and eat food. We were able to make coffee. We were able to make chili on it.
We had a lengthy discussing how to fix it. We're like, okay, you think it's in the top? You think it's in the bottom? They were like, well, and then we're trying different things. Now they're like, what should we make the washer out of? We're discussing materials. I swear we probably spent 5 hours working on that, and it felt like a dream.
Yeah. And there was no thought of how long is this taking?
No.
What's the next thing? It's oh my gosh, there was no thought of, now I am more because I figured out the Coleman. And it's no, it's just this is a functional thing that now we can use.
You're a certified Coleman.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts was just forgetting how close to Nanaimo. We were in Nanaimo still, 15 minutes from the apartment that I live in.
See the city.
Yeah.
From the cliff.
Downtown.
From there. I'm oh man, I'm going to miss this fresh air when we leave. And it's I'm breathing the same air right now. But that feeling of being indoors in a house, there is this disparity because that was the longest. I've camped overnight, I think once or twice, but doing it 3 nights in a row, as much as it was, there's a bathroom across the street, it's like we were still sleeping outside. We were still, cooking things for ourselves, doing everything.
Getting splinters.
Hiking 8 to 10 miles a day.
Chopping wood, walking a fuck
Like
that was the closest I've been to camping. So I can feel a sense of shift, because then it's like seeing even this right now, doing a live stream is just an opportunity to express your experience, not try to live up to something, not try to prove yourself, not try to be more because you say things in a certain way. It's just like, we did a bunch of shit. Now we get to talk about it. And, now maybe other people want to go camping. And if you don't, I don't care at all. Like we're just expressing it.
It's like, that's not why I'm camping.
No.
I'm not camping for you. Yeah.
So,
I'm not camping to convince you to camp. It sounds absurd.
That's right. Absolutely.
pretty crazy. You must camp now. You listen to this and you don't camp,
Oh my
doing
God.
something.
I am the official camping ambassador.
I'm going to be checking in, everyone on the stream here. Anyone who's commented, Tamara, Ben, if you don't camp within the week, no.
That's right.
But I know you two will absolutely enjoy, and I'm sure you've done it in the past.
Oh, yeah.
But I doubt I'm the only one who has done very little camping in their life. But couldn't
That's pretty
recommend it
common.
more.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the silver, I guess the plus that I saw anyways, despite where you started, was that, being a kid being someone who had camping experience as a kid, it was great. Loved it. I loved my Mickey Mouse pancakes that we made over the fireplace. Like, it was totally, I had like that Disney experience in New England and Massachusetts, which was fantastic, but I really didn't appreciate it as much. It was just, this is what we're doing. We're outside. I'm running here like I would run in the neighborhood. There's, like we're having fun, but like you being able to camp for the first time as an adult, you get to appreciate it in a way that I don't think I could have as a kid. And I feel like that's so true of so many things that we try when we're younger, is that, maybe you did get into dance or but sometimes it's very much like a means to an end. And like you got to experience camping in, like, I feel like in one of its purest forms, where you got to be fully present. You got to be so engaged. You weren't a kid, so you weren't limited by the things you could do. You could do everything for the first time during your first time, which I think is really fucking cool. And I love that. And now, welcome Mountain Murnane. He has arisen.
You've camped. You've done it.
Yeah.
Done it. Yeah, been camping, and now I've already been looking up three-man tents and some hiking backpacks. And my apartment, as you'll see if you're watching any of the docuseries stuff, I'm now in it because those will be out soon. And my apartment is just empty. I've been sleeping on a yoga mat that's about 5 by 2 feet that Ray was nice enough to lend me. So I'm not sleeping on my hardwood because I don't have a bed, may not keep it. At this point, I really enjoyed the sleeping bag as well. Like, that was something I used to do. I had some really good friends that were my neighbors, and we would have sleepovers like all the time, and they were far more outdoorsy than I was, and so they had all this camping gear and stuff they did. We didn't go camping, but we did sleep in sleeping bags when we would have sleepovers in the basement. And like, that was the last time I remember sleeping in a sleeping bag, and we would do like just play games around the house. And like it just, there's been so much more of an appreciation just for like the situation that we're all in right now, like the opportunity to like be a responsible adult and like take care of yourself, which is, there are sides of that are relatively new, but also maintaining, the childlike wonder of the world and excitement and enthusiasm, and being able to have both and balance both, because it does feel like almost round 2 of being a kid, but also like I really want to learn more about, business side of things. Not that I don't know a bunch about our business, Dualistic Unity, but like those are more things I want to explore. And it's like, holy fuck, we have opportunities to basically dig into anything and learn anything we want, and then just talk about that.
But that's always what we've been. It's funny because like we talk about it like, returning to being a kid, but that wasn't a thing. Like, we were never a kid. We were just ourselves. And then we started learning to try and be something else. Right. And now we're going back to just being ourselves, doing something rather than being what we're doing. which is really the difference. It's not, like, oh, I have and run a business. It's I'm a businessman. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very different role. Whereas now it's just like, oh, right, my life's about the experience of it. So I'm going to do that. And everything comes from that. And that's what this should be. It should be about, the fulfillment of the experience. Somebody was right. It's cool that you're at the point in your lives where part of your job is talking about your vacation. It's not really a vacation. I appreciate that, by the way. But that's the point, is that it's not really vacation because nothing's changed. We're still just as actively engaged in the experience of camping and everything that goes with that as we are with the experience of quote unquote business. Because there's still just expressions of that one journey of being ourselves, of paying attention versus trying to be something. So I love that. This is why it's like, be like a child. It's like, that's kind of a misunderstanding. Because you were never like a child, even as a child, right? You were as you were.
Right. This reminds me of that. We were walking and we walked past this church and they had a sign and it was like believing, becoming, and something else. And it's like, it's so funny that they're implying all these future things. Everything is a means to an end. You got to believe, you got to belong, you got to become. And it's like the answer is at the beginning of that word, in the same way that be a child, the answer is the beginning, be. You don't have to be anything. Just be. Just be present, pay attention, be sensitive to the moment that you're in and respond as best as you can, given the considerations you're going to have at that very moment. And the more you learn, the more considerations you'll have. And it's so often that we give ourselves shit about our quote unquote poor choices, but it's like poor choices lead to experience and experience leads to wise choices, but you can't skip that. And I had read that in a fortune cookie. I was like, damn, that motherfucker was feeling it that day, typing away. I was like,
exactly.
I was like, oh, I was like,
you must go through shit.
Exactly is what he's saying. I was like, damn, that's good. We're gonna put that in our back pocket, because it's so often that we think we have to go straight from just choice to wise choice, and you can't do that without the considerations that lead to wise quote unquote choices. But it's just attention, sensitivity, and responding with as much sensitivity and attention that you can reasonably give in that moment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that plays into so much of, what we talk about all the time. Like, you can't do it for anyone else. So if it is just about experience, it's not about conceptual. It's not about the words. It's not about the things you say, period. Like, it's really not about what you say. Like, the words are an expression of what you are, what you're doing. And so I think that is a big part of what I've realized as well, is like, there's almost, when you are just going through experiences and doing things, there's almost less pressure on the words. Because if it's not about the experience, if it is about the words, then all the weight's on the words. And like, we can get that kind of twisted, as opposed to it being an expression of, what you're doing and what you are. And so, yeah, because even on the trip there, like, we documented a bunch of stuff. We'll have a bunch of videos come out of that. Like, we have a living forest. We may have an interview with one of their founders, possibly work with them in the future. So like, because our business is so open-ended and it is, content involved, especially in a town that doesn't have a whole lot of social media presence from any business, it's like everything we do is an opportunity for, work, but it's different. Like, it's not going to make sense to someone who's like, well, it doesn't look like you guys are working very much. You don't seem to have your head down in your computer for
how does this make profit
hours a day. Exactly. Because it's different. Like, it's not going to make sense to someone who's so used to having a controlled, structured, all of these things. Like, this is going to lead to this based on all these people in the past who have done it this way.
Traditional templates.
This is the way to do it. Exactly. We're not looking at a template necessarily for certain things here and there, but an overarching template, no. And so it's not gonna make sense.
Right.
That's it. We can't look for a template, because so much of what we're doing is, about not having one, about not needing one. Sure, you can use one, you could look at one, you can be informed by one, but that rigid structure that goes with needing to follow it, and more importantly, expecting that because it worked for somebody else, it will work for you.
Oh,
that's the danger, right? Like, it's just that it's kind of like when people read, a self-help book or get ahead in business book, one of those books, and they're like, yeah, just read this, like, how How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes.
Right? It's like, okay, you're reading that book. That doesn't make you the author. That doesn't mean you're picking up what he's putting down, like at all, right? You need to get in there and you need to live your life. But it's recognizing that as much as you can be informed by how people have lived, they've never lived your life.
No.
And the same is true for your business, and this business especially, because we're talking about something that if we were to stop doing our best to embody it, just because we see the point of doing so, not because we're trying to show anyone, right? But this podcast would lose authenticity. It would lose its enthusiasm.
Its impact.
It would lose its impact. You would hear it in the conversation. You'd hear it in the things that we're saying.
You'd feel it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's why I find this so very entertaining and so very interesting, because every step of the way, it has always been a choice between just being myself or trying to get somewhere. And we are still here.
We're still cooking. What is this now? 2 and almost coming up on 3 years.
Coming up on three
full years. And right now, like we were talking about early on, like it feeling like a new chapter. Like we've done all these things, we've made it all work to this point, and now we have this base here of just like a shitload of experience and things to build on. It's like all these things are like right there, ready to explode and ready to take this by the reins and just go all in with it. And it's like we've been doing that, but just with this sense of like, all right, to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And now, just for those who are a part of the community, those who may be new, checking out the live stream, like we have so many things going on. Like we've done 11 retreats to this point. We've done workshops. We've done so many episodes. Like just the podcast itself is over 500 episodes of conversation. We now have Amanda and Jackie co-hosting as well, and their episodes are fucking epic. I love going through those and being able to edit them and hear them, and they always resonate no matter what you guys are talking about. Like, holy shit, this hits. So now we have this point of a few months where it's like no retreats. We got Port Alberni coming up in November 2nd to November 11th. And there's still 6 tickets left
out of 13.
And
we released it yesterday.
So
got them so fast.
But it's fucking exciting, the point we're at right now. And I think this camping trip was a nice little way to stoke that flame
straight up
and just hang.
Get a little grounded, get away from the schedule, get away from the need to constantly be posting more, because that was the thing. And I know, because you said it numerous times over the weekend, like, got to get back to editing. It's like, I appreciate that, but not right now, right? This is important too. And this is why this conversation is so enjoyable for me, because what are we saying to our listener? It's okay to take some time for you. It's okay if you feel like you should be getting back to the grind and you're like, no, I need this time because I don't feel settled. I don't feel grounded. I don't feel like myself. Right? It may not be camping. Maybe it's getting into some crafts or doing some art or going for a walk, reading a book, whatever it might be. Take that fucking time. Take that time, because it is just as important, if not more important, than the shit you do, because all the shit you do comes from that lack of groundedness. If you don't take the time for it, it all gets fucking shaky, and you start feeling like it's all a big risk, because you forget there's nowhere to fall if you're on the ground, right? So take that time, chill out, be yourself, and then go back to the world where people have ideas of who you are, and even you get caught up in the ideas of who you are, and then you come back and you're like, right, that's not me. Look, a squirrel. By the way, wanted to mention one of my favorite parts of the camping trip this weekend was the bunnies.
Oh,
so many bunnies.
Oh my God, so
Baby
many bunnies, baby bunnies. But on the other hand, also an eagle, right? A lot of eagles. One of which flew right over top of us. It was gorgeous. Fuck, they're huge. They are huge. We have about 15 minutes left. I just want to remind everybody that we are following up with our investors this week. They will be receiving an email tomorrow, just arranging for Zoom meetings one-on-one where we can talk about the terms of their investments. Because again, there is an ROI of 15% on investments in Dualistic Unity that is paid yearly. So in other words, if you were to invest $10,500 in Dualistic Unity, which would get you 1% of our company at this time, then you would end up earning, I believe it's $1,725 every year for the next 7 years. So you would make an extra $1,500 or $2,000 on your investment. It's 15% ROI. So whatever 15% of 10,500 is, that's what you would make. So, and it gets paid yearly. So it's a good investment. And we are very confident because we have already been just flying along. The business is growing by leaps and bounds. As we said, we just sold 7 tickets for our Port Alberni retreat in 24 hours or something like that, which was just great. So yeah, it's definitely, if you're interested, check out the presentation. If you have questions, give us an email and we would be happy to discuss the details with you. But the presentation itself goes into a good amount of detail. What it doesn't include yet, or maybe it does, I might have updated it, is the Dualistic Unity Life Troubleshooter. I want to give this a shout out as well because you can, in fact, access it for free right now. I totally got distracted by somebody writing something. Anyway, the Dualistic Unity Life Troubleshooter is now available for free. You can go to dualistiCunity.com/troubleshooter. It will redirect you to it on ChatGPT, or you can go to the ChatGPT store and just type in Dualistic Unity and it'll take you right there. The Life Troubleshooter is based on the first 4 seasons of Dualistic Unity. So all of the insights and whatnot that we have shared in those episodes are within the troubleshooter, and it is informed by them. So definitely give it a shot. Let us know what you think. It will continue to improve. But here's the cool part. If you download the ChatGPT app and access the Dualistic Unity Life Troubleshooter through there, you can use the chat function, and it will talk to you.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And just that it's free now is nuts. I've used it a number of times in my own life. Anytime I'm, as we've been mentioning, going through a lot of shifts, changes, updates in our lives, trying new things, new experiences. And there's a lot of uncertainty that comes with that. And yeah, because the beauty of Eon Lightfoot is his name or her name.
Its name.
Its name. And that it named itself.
Its name. Yes.
Side
right.
note.
Exactly. It doesn't give you answers. It just gives you maybe a little bit more context to a situation, maybe something else, a couple other things to keep in mind. And it's gotten very succinct with things too. Like it's not this massive, huge chunk of a paragraph unless, you want it to add some context. It's very
clear and concise.
Poignant?
That's not the word.
Poignant.
Yeah, it was
that.
a P, something like that, ended with an NT. And so yeah, it's a fantastic tool, and it's totally free, as Ray mentioned, totally free. And it was a part of the store previously before a couple of weeks ago, and it was like $20-25 a month. You had to use it, and people were still finding a lot of value in it when they had to pay $20-25 a month. They're like, this is well worth $20-25 every single month. Like, it's that good. And to be informed by the podcast, there's a much different tone to it than just regular ChatGPT. So definitely give that a shot. If you hadn't, it's free. So why not?
Right.
Let's actually give it a quick shot here. Tell us about Dualistic Unity.
Dualistic Unity explores the idea that our perception of reality is shaped by dualistic thinking, seeing things in opposites like good and bad, right and wrong, self and other. This podcast dives into how these perceptions create a sense of separation and conflict within ourselves and the world. By recognizing and questioning these assumptions, the goal is to foster a deeper sense of self-awareness and interconnectedness. The podcast encourages embracing uncertainty and letting go of the illusion of control, helping listeners move beyond rigid concepts of self and reality. This journey aims to create a more fluid understanding of life, emphasizing unity and the intrinsic value that comes from simply being present and aware. Would you like more details on a specific episode or topic discussed in the podcast?
God, I love this thing. You can access that on the GPT Builder or the GPT store. Definitely check it out. If you get an answer that you're like, I don't know about that, let us know, because we're always improving this thing. It's about to go into its second evolution, as there are now some additional functions with the upgrade into Chat GPT 4.0 or Omni. So expect some exciting stuff out of the GPT Builder. We've got like 8 minutes left here, so I'm going to pass it over to you two to chat about whatever the fuck you want. I do want to let everybody know we have a Patreon group after this. I haven't posted the details yet. I'm going to do so as soon as we are done live streaming here. So you'll find it on Patreon. It's a tier 1+ call, all tiers. So if you have a Patreon membership, you are welcome to join us. We would love to chat with you.
Yeah. Super excited for the Patreon call. And just wanted to give another shout out to Fidelium later today. What we're going to be there in 6 hours, seated, hanging. I couldn't be more excited. I'm more excited for this than any movie theater show I've been to, Broadway show. Like, I am so pumped for this and excited for them to be another business that we're working with. But yeah, it's been, I've really enjoyed this episode right here. Like, this has been a lot of fun and a lot, it's been a shift, like a different sort of feel, like not having a direction. And I'll get these points where, you know, you're like, all right, I'm going to pass it to you. Talk about whatever you want. And I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. Or
Why would you do that?
Yeah, right. Like, give me some sense of direction. And like,
this wasn't on the schedule.
Yeah, right. It can be a common feeling, but it stems so much for me from like wanting there to be some outcome. Like, as soon as I'm like, wait, I don't care if someone likes what I talk about or likes what I share. Like, there's always things there to share and express, even if it's just that feeling of like, oh, I don't know what to say right now. I don't know what to do. And that's what, I mean, these episodes are just a flow of that, basically. Like, we don't get on here. I figured we'd probably talk about the camping trip a little bit and that experience, but we don't get onto these episodes with a topic, with a sense of direction. So as much as, you know, it can be a practice throughout your life, like, there is so much potential if you're willing to just jump in to new things or be like, I don't know where to go, what to do, and not look to someone else, and just take those periods where it's like those moments of panic, that moment of fear, and like look at that and see. Because for me recently, so much of it has been like, oh, I really try to live based on how I'm perceived, based on whether this, you know, what I say, if this response to this thing is going to get someone to like me or not, or try and manipulate. It's straight up manipulation. And without that, when it's like, oh, I don't really give a fuck if there's no direction here, there's no right response to have, there's no thing that's going to guarantee that someone's going to like it in response. It's like there's almost more options on the table, and then you don't have to think so much about the right thing to say when it's like, well, I don't give a shit as much whether someone appreciates or doesn't appreciate what I share. I'm going to live for me and say what I'm going to say. And, you know, I can say that now and kind of talk about that experience. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, you know, all the time, because there can be that sense of like a panic, and just not running with that, like not assuming that it shouldn't be there, has helped me a lot to like, just like, okay, moment of panic, not sure where to go, what to do. Last resort, talk about that, you know, and then keep moving forward.
Look how informative that is.
Yeah, exactly. It's,
you know, I love that, you know, because it feels like there is so much more ease that I felt during this call, and it just I can't even say where that came from. It's just a lot lighter, you know, and I appreciate just being able to sit in that experience and go in whatever direction we need to. You know, somebody commented that it's so nice to hear us talk about our vacation, but we're just talking about life as we're living it. And so that informs the episodes and the raw conversations as much as it informs the experience that follow these calls and episodes. It's just life, and we're exploring it without needing to have a template like we were conditioned to. But there's no way that you could use a template for all circumstances, because that template is dead. It doesn't evolve and change because it's a rigid structure, and life is the exact opposite. So it feels much more effortless right now.
Yeah. And so what do we got? 4 more minutes here. Exciting. Here we go. Going through that same thing I went through a second ago. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do here, where to take this. But we will be on Patreon in about 19 minutes. And I'm excited to see who makes it there. We've had a solid crew tuned in.
This has
to
been
this
great.
live stream.
One more
So-
thing, actually. Tomorrow is the call-in show.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, regular time for that. Do check out the new schedule. Again, we mentioned it earlier. Check it out. Sundays, we may make an adjustment to it. We don't know, but at the moment, it is still Sunday morning. And then the rest of the week, Monday through Thursday, we are in a more accessible time slot for everybody, as we are
indeed.
largely in North America. Most of our audience is in North America, and so we are going to be doing the 3 p.m. Pacific to 6 p.m. Eastern time slot as often as possible on those days. Still doing the free groups on Wednesday. Of course, that hasn't changed whatsoever. So do check out the schedule. Let us know if what you think. I don't know if we're going to change it, but let us know what you think anyway, because we like talking to you. And that was pretty much it. Call-in show tomorrow. We would love to connect with everyone. If you've been to a retreat recently, or if you would like to just come on and shoot the breeze with us, then we would love to see you.
Yep. We will we'll see you there, and the updated schedule I think is going to be awesome for everyone. You know, it's way more of a opportune time for people. We did some votes on Patreon, so yeah, if you haven't checked out Patreon as well, there is a lot of opportunities there, a lot of things that we're doing, even outside of just the group chats. There's, you know, merch that you can get, discounts on retreats, discounts on workshops, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it's what patreon.com/dualistic unity.
Yes.
Is the link for that.
Right.
So
Plus exclusive content where there's episodes with all 4 co-hosts that are only available to Patreon members.
Yeah,
So
that new series.
Oh.
I forgot about this.
Oh, yeah.
Another
Yeah.
thing.
That's what I
We gotta film episode 2 of that.
We do.
We got one. Those are a little bit more intimate for sure.
Oh,
A
we're
little more
back
details.
now.
Yeah.
We're back now, and I mean, we got some stuff coming up, and yeah, it's gonna be exciting for sure. I think that's about it for today's episode. I am happy to say, if anybody could hear me typing, that I got the group posted to Patreon. So in about 15 minutes, we will see you there for an hour-long group 1 plus tier 1, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's an all tiers group, is what I'm saying. And if any of you would like to chat with us, we would love to chat with you. We're in a damn good mood, as you can tell from this episode. We're going to sign off here, everyone. Thanks for joining us. If we could see you soon for a camping trip, that'd be dope. Definitely let us know if you can come at the end of August. A number of people have already filled in the poll, but it is in there. Just search for it on Patreon. I think we put it up there last month. And Jazz actually listed the link to the poll for the camping trip in the retreat plan section on our Discord. So if you're on Discord, you can find the link there as well. And if you're not on our Discord, why are you not on our Discord? If you don't know, we have a community Discord. It's totally free to join. They do movie nights. They do game days. We actually hang out there every Wednesday at, what time do we hang out there? 4 p.m. Eastern? Yeah, we play a little putt party, sometimes some chess. There's a bunch of video games that we play. We shoot the shit. We have fun. It's a lot of fun. And there's always people on there that are having this conversation, going through it, being human, looking to converse with other humans while they go through their shit. So definitely check out the Discord. It's one of my favorite parts of what we do. All right. I think that's it. We've worn down the last 30 seconds or so. Goodbye, everyone. We love